And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our third series of the night. Welcome back to the LiuLi Cup 2024 Grand Finals Playoffs Day number 2. And we have a banger of a ZVP. This is a rematch. We have had a back-and-forth rivalry between these two players over the course of the past week. And now they face off once again. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Slashron Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the red Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Serral. Here we go, and if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. Whew. As the Gamba is open for the next couple of moments here. For those that are curious, for those who did not watch Master Coliseum, I recommend watching the VODs. The VODs, the event itself, Master Coliseum, was insane. It was crazy. It was dynamic. And we saw Serral lose to MaxPax in the upper bracket. Did go down, did get knocked down, but Serral, he clawed his way back in, and Serral did win the rematch and did defeat MaxPax on his way to the finals. So we have had a back and forth where MaxPax initially won the best of 5 and then Serral won the best of 7. So we have had that back and forth, and now is it time, is it MaxPax's turn to win, or will Serral maintain that streak? Oh boy. Now what I will emphasize, when it comes to their games, when it comes to their matches, Serral very often was attempting to end the game a little bit earlier. If MaxPax could stabilize and could embrace a 3, 4, 5 base economy, if he can get into the end game, the late game sky toss, that is where MaxPax thrived. That's where Serral had a very hard time keeping up, especially the first time they faced. The second time they faced Serral, he was a lot more active, a lot more aggressive, and a lot more able to just keep up with the movement of MaxPax to punish him and to cripple him before MaxPax could really reach that ideal kind of game state, that ideal composition. So we saw Serral switch gears. We saw him switch gears entirely in the rematch, and we'll see if he continues that trend here in this fresh best of 5. But now, standard openers. It is going to be Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener out of Serral. Likewise, MaxPax going for his own gate expand into Cybercore as well. We have our take of choice, Stargate. It's going to be a Stargate opener out of MaxPax. Stargate into Oracle. I would imagine he can open Void Ray, which he did like to mix in from time to time into his matches, into his games, to keep Serral in the dark. Here we go. We'll see if he can. We'll see if he does. But now the Overlord does dip in towards the main. Does confirm the... should soon confirm the opener here, as it is going to be an Oracle opener out of MaxPax. Serral, he does dip in further to confirm. There we go. Does scout, is aware of the Oracle coming his way. Serral, he pulls back, keeping up with the Adept. The Adept will shut down the Tumor. Nice catch. Active Tumor goes down. Serral is getting his third. Link speed is on the way. Serral pulling back into gas. I'd imagine working towards a faster Eva chamber into +1, but we'll keep an eye on Serral. We'll keep an eye on him. Okay, we're back. Whew. Likewise, Oracle gets across the map. Not really getting anything too much done yet. As we know, lava goes down. No drones either. No damage, but does scout. Is keeping tabs on Serral. So far, so good. Behind his third base is on the way. Serral isn't being too active to punish it. I mean, again, welcome one and all to Amygdala, one of the larger maps in the map pool. Much more difficult to try to punish and be aggressive with links. As the Oracle comes from behind, gets one drone, gets one, gets two. 2 drones go down, and MaxPax does pull away. Does pull away. Catching out a couple of workers. There is in production. And Serral, he is going for the safety roach one. Does go for the safety roach one here. Not taking any chances, not against MaxPax. Likewise, MaxPax getting into Blink, into +1, 4 gateway explosion, getting to a 6 gate setup. Standard setup so far by MaxPax. As we're easing our way in towards the mid game. Nothing crazy from anyone. We see MaxPax getting a couple of drone kills here and there, but nothing too major. Likewise, Serral getting his 4th, still droning into his own upgrades, playing things out safe. And from here, we're waiting to see if MaxPax throws down extra gateways or if he takes gases and techs up. And he should be taking gases. He should be looking to eventually expand. Speaking of setting up for a longer game, there's that Hydroden, +1 range. Serral going into Roach Hydra initially. Or even Ling Hydra. 4th base is on the way. Overseer will confirm, gets eyes on all the tech. As it is zoned away. Gets eyes on the lack of additional gateways. MaxPax, he's going to be applying pressure to the 4th. And Serral, he does have some lings to defend. There's 24 lings. Hydras are coming out just in time. So far, so good. Serral trying to catch reinforcements. Was he doesn't bait out the stasis. Attempting to catch out a Stalker. The hatchery taking a lot of hits. Serral has to engage. Come on, volleys, Scotch Transfuse, saves the base. But MaxPax, he's gaining ground. Lings, they turn back around, they take the stasis. Oh, baits out 1, baits out 2, and the 3rd as well. Whew. Clutch moves by Serral. There's still one more stasis behind this. And another one. Gee, they just keep going. They just keep going. They just keep on coming here, but Lings, they still overwhelmed. They catch out 3 of those Stalkers. Another stasis, massive connection. And Serral has to respect it, he has to back up. Has to pull away. MaxPax, he maintains his position. Now getting into +2. Pulls away. Catches a Hydra. Serral still massing out more lings. That hatchery's still very low, and MaxPax, he wants it. He wants the base. But not quite going to get it. So he's holding, at the same time going for his own link counterattack, trying to punish, trying to shut down that 4th. Serral has been barely defending. Charge is not yet done. MaxPax being forced back home. There's another stasis. Not bad. And the stasis does punish a Hydra. But Serral reinforces, and he should force a cancel. Massive pickup. This 4th base is going to be delayed. Heavily delayed. 4th base goes down. There's the recall. And MaxPax is in trouble. He's stuck on 3 bases. And Serral is getting ready for a 5th. There it is. 5th base on the way. Serral, he survived the most difficult part of this kind of game state, as he almost lost the 4th. But really, he kills the 4th of MaxPax. Behind this, going into Storm, going to +2. Now, without Lurkers, this is going to be a tough hold still for Serral, as I'm assuming that MaxPax is soon going to push out. And this time he's expanding behind his army, so it's going to be that much more difficult for Serral to try to punish this. They move in. MaxPax commits. Vipers are gearing up. Oh! Storm's underway. Storm is revealed. Fleet beacon from MaxPax. Nice dodge here on the Storms. Lurkers are morphing in. Serral just needs a little bit more time to mass up those Lurkers. And then they can hold on. Oh. Another Storm goes off. There we go. 6 more Lurkers in production. Again, Serral, he needs a little bit more time. We want massive Zealot counterattack. Ooh, hits the 5th base. Serral, he's out of position. He's not ready for this. And the base is going to be denied. That's a kill, not a cancel. Massive Storm on the Lings. And Serral is being overwhelmed. Brutal losses here. More Hydras falling. Expensive trades here for Serral. MaxPax gaining momentum. Now again, he did well for himself, killing the 5th base and trading out those Lings. Or, sorry, I should say killing those Hydras. But can MaxPax break this without immortals? He only has one. He only has one immortal. He should not be able to break through this defensive line. Serral, he holds. But MaxPax not getting his 4th base. Still very tense between the two players. Tempest production has begun. 2 more Stargates on the way, getting to triple Tempest production. Oh. There's not the stasis. Storm's popping up feedbacks as well. Very nice control. The storm, the stasis, the feedbacks. MaxPax will secure another base. But again, MaxPax doesn't really have a secure army to fight this head on. He needs more immortals, needs more Tempest, needs more Sky Toss. Can he get there? So rotating over. He's gonna rotate, looking to dive in. Let's get Storms. Ooh, they shut down the Lings. Still trying to pull this off though. Does catch an Archon. One Archon goes down. Meanwhile, the main army coming in from behind. Serral, if he's not too careful, he will be flanked. So the threatens on the right. MaxPax, he pulls back. Does pull back home. Storms popping off. Massive storms on the Hydras. West, Serral pushing in. Nice deductions on those immortals, but the Tempests have arrived. Serral, he needs to gain more ground. Retaking his 5th base. Trying to maintain himself. Serral slowly pushing in. MaxPax, he responds with his Tempest. And how many abductions? How many Vipers? 2. 2 Vipers, they don't have energy. Don't have energy yet. Corruptors are on the way. These are going to be 0/0 Corruptors. Serral is getting caught out, losing 3 more Lurkers. Ay, ay, ay. Got 3 Lurkers. Serral pulling back. Both players are maxing out. And now, we need to take stock here. Who do we favor in this kind of game state? I mean, MaxPax does have a lot of Tempest. His army is split. He's getting ready here for the multi-pronged aggression of Serral. Serral could try to take advantage of this and could try to push into one location here and try to centralize and focus his army to try to overwhelm. But if he tries to do that, there's always a recall. There's always a recall available. Whether it's a mothership or a base recall to reinforce. Serral getting ready for a flank. Fishing for those Tempests. Oh, gets 2. Really gets 1. 1 Tempest goes down. Meanwhile, MaxPax getting around to his left-hand side. He cannot push into these Lurkers, but there's only... They're not burrowed! Yeah, they are burrowed. Force further back. So he has to respond. He rotates. Is up against the wall. Still building up more Corruptors. We'll see if Serral can hold on. Is going for the gold. Now has established his 5th. Again, it is very difficult to help to defend that gold base, but I mean, he needs to try. Storm zone away. MaxPax, he gets the hell out of here. He pulls back to the safety of his bases. Just pulling back in general. Again, there's a delicate dance with how MaxPax wants to split up his army, but Jesus, how many Tempests? 9! 9 Tempests. That's a lot of Tempests, man. It's a Lurker. MaxPax pulling away. Does pull back. Both players building up their banks. Build up. MaxPax is trying to gain ground. Serral coming in for a flank. Elastic gets caught out by the stasis. Going for the recall. Breaks his army out. And here we go. Now we have a centralized push. And this time we bring everything together. Mass Tempest, Archon Storm. This is the ideal army. And Serral, how does he engage into this? Carefully. Lands a fungal. Fungal goes up. 3 more infestors on the way. He's down to 2. Lurkers, they do harass. They force MaxPax back. There's a revelation. Ooh. Let's come back home. 7 probes going down. Serral, he breaks out. Ideally, he wants to try to threaten the center base, but I don't think he can really engage with the main army. Not right now. Now, thankfully, the infestors have arrived, and do we have a Neural? We do. Neural is done. 9 Broodlords morphing in. MaxPax, he recalls over. Does recall. So far, MaxPax is keeping up with Serral. And what's scary about this kind of game state here is that Serral cannot expand. He's just now getting his gold, but taking these fringe bases are very difficult here on Amygdala for both players. That's why neither one has taken them yet. Likewise, the gold base also difficult to defend. MaxPax is going to be the first. Takes it to the base. Bottom right. He takes bottom right. Top left is still up in the air. Oh, there's a fungal. Doesn't lose anything. Recalls in time. MaxPax pushing in. Coming in for a flank. Gets eyes on those infestors. Denies mining at the gold. Does deny mining. Gets attacked here on the Broodlords. And on the infestors. Infestors trying to come in. Oh, base goes down. And Serral, he rotates. He rotates over and he should deny this base. Essentially trading a base for a base. MaxPax, he responds. This is an opportunity here for Serral. As MaxPax, he's rotating. As he rotates, Serral, he can find an opening. You can see MaxPax being very careful. Does skirt around the edge. Infestors are coming in for the fungal. Up, can he get him? Fungal goes up. Does catch the army. Mass feedback. Mass feedback going up. The army gets locked down. Where are the storms? Storms on those corruptors. High Templar going down. Every corruptor falls. And MaxPax holds. Whew. He does hold on. A much better fight here for MaxPax. Does break through. MaxPax, what did he lose? He lost 1 High Templar and 2 Archons. That is insane. MaxPax, he barely lost anything. That was for 10 Corruptors and 5 Infestors. The trade was it. That was crazy. MaxPax, he completely shut down that army. Now, Serral, he remaxed with Corruptor. He's got 16 Corruptors coming in, and MaxPax, he's running out of Storm. He's running out of Storm. Here comes a remax. Storms, they still pop up. Archons as well. But again, limited Storms here for MaxPax. Corruptors, they go for the dive. And the Corruptors this time, with the remax, they kill the Mothership. Mothership goes down. Tempest kite back. Archon gets caught out. At the same time, MaxPax attempting the counterattack. MaxPax holds. He does hold. Maintains the Tempest. He had 9, down to 6. Whew. Again, an intense trade. And a big part of the success for Serral there towards the end was that MaxPax overextended. Despite winning the first fight really well, he kept pushing. He kept pushing, he pushed on to creep. As a result, he got caught by the reinforcements. So MaxPax, he got too excited. He got a little bit too excited there. Has to calm down. Gather energy once again. MaxPax, he is establishing this base. It's getting up and running. The Archon count is very low. MaxPax, he needs more Archons. Oracle gets caught out. Speaking of, the Archons are building up on the left-hand side. Reinforcing with Stalker, actually. Storm going up. Catching out the Lings. Good trades here from MaxPax. Serral tries to respond with his Broodlords. Does try to respond. Oh! Doesn't land the fungal. MaxPax moving in, Serral moving in, forcing MaxPax to react here at the gold. Tempest have to be so careful. Despite losing 6 probes, MaxPax still has that fresh mining base. Serral, I'm sure he wants it. I'm sure he wants that Nexus. Yeah, more cannons, more shield batteries. And MaxPax, he is winning this game. I should say he has a lead. He does have a lead. MaxPax, he has more bases, he has a larger bank, mineral and gas. He has been able to out-trade his opponent as well. MaxPax has been more efficient, and as we said before, previously when we've been casting MaxPax versus Serral in Master Coliseum, it's usually, this is the kind of game state where MaxPax wins. Like, if he's able to get a solid economy and have the ideal late game composition, this is where Serral struggles. This is where Zerg struggles. Storm going up. Really, he's hoping for MaxPax to make mistakes. Like previously, when MaxPax overextended, that's what Serral wants. That's what he's hoping for. But Serral, he will lose an expansion. Pushing in. Again, he's forcing a reaction out of MaxPax. Serral just getting bullied back. MaxPax, he can just try to collapse in from both ends. As MaxPax, he's gaining ground. Clearing up creep. Again, the creep for Serral is non-existent. Like, there's no creep. There's no real map presence for Serral. Like, MaxPax, he's just been so careful and he's been controlling this so well. And again, this is how MaxPax has beaten Serral in the past. As long as he doesn't get caught out. Testers, they're coming in for the fungal. Big connection. Fungal goes off, and now it's its moment. Dives in, Stasis goes off as well. Storms on the Corruptors. Oh, and the High Templar go down. Massive win here for Serral. Takes the fight, forces the recall. Some of the army does survive. Serral, that was the best fight that he could have hoped for. I mean, catching up most of it. Took down 4 Tempest, the Mothership, 8 High Templar. Really was killing the High Templar. He killed the High Templar so quick. And the Corruptors survived. Corruptors did survive. You can see Serral attempting to take top left. Now remember, MaxPax has a tank, and you can see Serral, he's running out of resources. He's running out of gas. Specifically. So that was a good fight, but the reality is that MaxPax can afford a loss like that. MaxPax, he can afford it. So MaxPax, he's already remaxing. Oh. Has to respect the Broodlords. Top left is denied. Serral denying mining time. Ooh, Lurkers get caught out. Serral committing here to the Nexus. MaxPax, how many Tempests? 9. Once again, 9 Tempests. Gets a Broodlord. Gets 2. Nexus goes down. And Serral, he will deny both bases. The Nexus is denied. Likewise, Zealot War, it's a slow Zealot Warband, so a rough trade here for MaxPax. He has to respond with his army. Serral is still in this game. Like, it is an uphill battle for Serral, but he's fighting uphill. He's doing it. He's fighting back as hard as he can. And as we saw, he's hoping to catch MaxPax and the open with a big fungal, like we saw just previously. That's what Serral is looking for. That's what he's hoping for. To catch him out. Serral trying to respond. It's a lurker. Lings, they move in once again. And MaxPax actually just cannot take this base. I mean, I don't expect either of them to. It was a big win for MaxPax to take bottom right. A big win for him. And he doesn't even need top left. All he has to do is just deny this base from Serral. Like, Serral, he's out of bases. Like, he's tapped out when it comes to available resources. He's running out. MaxPax is starving Serral out. Starving him out at this point. And soon Serral, I mean, he's going to be getting a little bit more desperate. At least he has built up a bank. Once again, going for the expansion. Oh, catching at a carrier. Nice pickup. Carrier goes down. Once again, trading a base for a base. Nexus goes down for the hatchery. Oh, that's a kill, not a cancel. MaxPax, he can commit. He can always recall. Can always recall back. Takes down a couple of spore crawlers. Nothing too major. Serral coming in with his corruptors. Max, he gets the hell out of here. He pulls away. So he's sharking for a fungal. Oh! He wants it. Doesn't quite get it. Yeah, not quite. He does get 2 Tempests though. 2 Tempests get caught out. Another chain fungal. Feedbacks from the Vipers. Corruptors they go for the dive. Ooh, it's going to be a one-way trip here. Tempest count is reset. A lot of Corruptors do fall. Does take down all the High Templar though. Not a bad trade for Serral. Catches all the Tempests once again. Stalkers, they do go in for the dive. They cannot quite punish though. Here come the reinforcements. Again, Archons, they were lacking with the main army. Storms are here. Serral being forced back. But again, catching 9 Tempests, that was huge. As the Archon count was too low. There weren't enough Archons with the main army initially. As we mentioned before, Serral, he's hoping to try to catch the army also, not just out of position, but half at a time. So MaxPax's army will split. Ooh, catching 2 High Templar. Serral, he's pulling this off. Catches the army, denies mining time. Moving in. We have 8 more infestors on the way. Serral takes up left. And again, MaxPax, he mainly rebuilt here with Stalkers. He's trying to build up his Tempest count, but things are getting chaotic. Mothership goes down. Overall's out in the open. Bottom right is going to fall. Serral, he responds. MaxPax needs to pull away. Needs to pull out. Let's pull back home. Gets the safety of the cannons and shield batteries. It does make it back. Snipes the expansion. And once again, even though that was a better fight for Serral, once again, Serral, he's out of resources. He has 2 patches left here on the left, and he has 1 patch here in the center. This is all the money that Serral has left. He's broke. He has no money. And what's important here, this base. A full, fresh mining base. Not exactly fresh, but a full base for MaxPax and the center gold as well. MaxPax, he still has an economy. He still has resources. Serral needs top left desperately. Takes down 8 probes. MaxPax long distance mining. Serral once again going for the gold. And the reality is here that all that MaxPax has to do is just play it safe and deny top left. When I say play it safe, of course, avoid the main fight here with these infestors. Easier said than done. Lurkers, they rotate. And this time the Archon count is much higher. At this point, because there's high Archon count, which is what was missing earlier, these Corruptors cannot dive. Even with a big fungal, they cannot dive into this. Not on their own. Workers are set. Ling's moving in. Corruptors, once again, they're looking for those Tempest. Here come those Fungals. Yeah, Tempest are getting caught out. Archons have to move into position. They try to zone away. Storm's going to be going off. Nice spread here with the Corruptors. They do spread well. The Storms, it looks like we're running out. Yeah, no more Storms left. Tempest do fall. And it looks like Serral, he may have just done it here. Again, a very nice spread. With that, the Corruptors, sorry, the Broodlords, they just bully the Ground Army. And top left, it's getting up. For the first time in a long time, Serral, he has a base. He can mine. He has top left. MaxPax moves in. He's hoping for a reaction. You can see here the Broodlords, they're waiting in position. The Broodlords are in position. There's the recall. Recall to bottom right. MaxPax, he is running out of resources. I mean, he's not mining efficiently here. He doesn't really have the probe count for it. He has idle workers. There we go. Does recognize that he's broke himself. Still very tense, but oh so important that Serral can now mine. He has income. That may just be all he needs. MaxPax, he's burned through everything. He's down to only 3 Tempest. The reality is that this army that MaxPax has against Mass Broodlord, I mean, how does he really engage? He's only got he only has 3 Tempest. So be so careful with how he does fight. The Corruptor count is still high. Archon count not what it needs to be. So he knows that he has to push in. Well, I should say MaxPax knows that he has to push in. And someone knows it. MaxPax catching out 3 of these lurkers. Sorry, 4 of these lurkers. Here comes a fungal. Oof. Gets 1. Nice movement here by Serral. Saves the lurkers. Oh, lands a fungal. Gets one of the High Templar. One High Templar goes down. Lings at the base. Still resources here. Still value in this expansion. Base goes down. I say that it's like 400 minerals. Like 400 minerals here is going to be forfeits. I mean, everything does count. Look at the units have 16 Corruptors. Again, there should be plenty of, I mean, actually, I was going to say plenty of Corruptors for the Tempest, but what was once 3 Tempest, now up to 9, soon to be 10 Tempest. The question becomes, is there enough to protect the Tempest? We mentioned earlier how MaxPax, he was punished for having only 3 Archons at the time. He just didn't really have his Archon army ready. Likewise, only 3 Archons here as well. It's not that much to really deter a dive. So I'm not too convinced by this composition. And there's a lot of Zealots, which doesn't really help. So MaxPax needs more time to build up more High Templar, more Archons, more Storm. Tempest getting caught out. Almost. Here comes a Cloak. Massive Storm of the Corruptors. Going for the Power Bomb, and he commits. Does commit in. Storms are good. The Zealots are not really going to be able to help. Tempest, they pull away. They survive. Tempest do survive. Can't say the same for the Mothership. Army Force Pack. Down to 1 High Templar. 1 High Templar left. That was a better trade for Serral. Again, these infestors, they're just forcing these fights that MaxPax he just can't take. And here they come once again. Another fungal. Another massive fungal. And Serral, he's done it. He has done it despite being behind for so long in this game, despite being down in economy. Takes down the Tempest. Broodlords, they push in. They bully back the army. And after 36 minutes, he's done it, Taki. He has done it. He breaks the base. Whew. And MaxPax now going into Void Ray. Now going into Mass Void Ray, a little bit of desperation. Flux Veins on the way. The reality though, MaxPax, he cannot afford this. He cannot afford a transition to Mass Void Ray, not this late into the game. Yoinks the Tempest. The Voids are they're actually trading well for themselves, but GG gets called, he gets overwhelmed, and Serral takes game number 1. GG. That was only game 1. GG, well played. Serral, he does take a lead in the series, but that was merely only game 1, and that was not an easy game for Serral either. MaxPax had a lot of really strong moments. He had the better economy, he had some better trades initially, but past the, or towards kind of the last like 15 minutes of the game, what I will say is that Serral, he was able to catch out his opponent twice. There were 2 really big moments where Serral was able to catch out MaxPax, catch him off guard, catch him out of position. The first big one was when Serral caught the army towards the top side, towards the north side. Actually, sorry, before that, if you remember, when MaxPax won the fight towards the south, when he won the fight as he was fighting at the bottom right hand base, after he only lost, what was it, like 1 High Templar, and sorry, it was like 2 High Templar and an Archon or something, and like maybe 1 Tempest. Like, he took such a good fight, MaxPax on his side of the map. He counterattacked, and because it took a little bit too long for him to push in, Serral, he was able to remax with 16 Corruptors, then he punished MaxPax. Initially, that was the first time that Serral gained momentum. Then after that, we saw the fight towards the north, where MaxPax fought with half his army. The other half was towards the south, so he got caught out with barely any Archons, and his Tempest count was reset. So Serral able to catch out MaxPax multiple times there, and with that, able to outtrade and overwhelm. Oh my god. Able to outtrade, able to overwhelm. Again, MaxPax got a little bit too excited and did expose himself, and with that, we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Jumping into game 2. It's going to be on El Dorado. As a reminder, this is a best of 5. Best of 5. Plenty more games ahead of us. Plenty more games to come. Let's go. Here we go. We're getting into game number 2 of this best of 5. Again, plenty more games to come, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of El Dorado, we have the Danish Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Storm Gaming down in the series, but that was only game 1. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player representing Basilisk. It is Serral. Leading the series 1-0. Whew, okay. It's been quite a series already here. Game 1 was a banger. What do you have for us here in game 2? What do you have for us? Now, what I will say is that this is also a battle of stamina. Battle of endurance, if you will, between Serral and MaxPax. Now, I do favor MaxPax in those kind of game states. Again, when it came to game 1, MaxPax, he was ahead. He did have quite a solid lead, I will say, against Serral for quite some time. It did slip away, and Serral, he clawed his way back into it, but MaxPax was in a better position initially. And that's the kind of game state where he thrives in, is that kind of late game army composition, split map scenario on Abyssal Reef, on King's Cove, on Amygdala. That's where he can thrive. Here, though, smaller map. Smaller map of the map pool, less bases, shorter rush distance by ground, shorter rush distance by air. Aggression is what we should be expecting to be seeing here on El Dorado, and potentially some more unique builds as well. I mentioned before that Serral, when he had his rematch against MaxPax, we saw a lot more aggression out of Serral, a lot more decisiveness, and he was very much so in MaxPax's face, making it more uncomfortable going in towards the mid game and towards the late game as well. Not necessarily going for all-ins, but just able to find damage and poke holes in the defense of MaxPax early on ahead of time. We'll see if Serral can do that here. We shall see. See in the chat. Hot diggity damn. Let's go. Hello 007. Absolute Kino, papi. Kino. Cinema. Cinema. That was a game. Shema. Shema in the chat. Good to see you. Good to see you. Whew. Okay, so we can take a breath. Link speed is on the way. Third base as well. Serral, he's joining up. He is saturating. He's establishing himself. Serral does pull out. The scout is denied, bear that in mind. And from here, MaxPax just opening up Stargate into Oracle. Standard opener for the time being. We'll see if MaxPax does deviate at any point and does try to either rush into tech or be more aggressive, maybe be a little bit more greedy. Is possible. So we are settling in. So far, there's that third base for MaxPax. Back at home, Serral, he is going to be droning, taking his own third, saturating as well. No major tech pause yet out of Serral either. Just settling in. Just going to be settling in. We'll see if Serral can keep up with the aggression of these Oracles. Aggression of MaxPax. Does move out. Cammy the third. Rotates over towards the natural. Queens are in position. Oracle gets deflected. So far, so good. Oh, hello. As that is a Stargate into Robo. MaxPax. I didn't know you were Polish. I didn't. Let's go. I mean, I'm expecting Robo into Twilight Council, but we'll keep it. Yeah, there we go. Twilight Council's on the way. So this should be a really unique build here. Something we don't see too often. Robo into Twilight Council. I would imagine this is going to be for a War Prism into a Templar Archives. I feel like the Twilight Council is a little bit late, though. It is a little bit of a later Twilight Council. Initially, I assumed that this was going to be for a Templar Archives into Archon drop. Yeah, like War Prism into Templar Archives into Archon drop is my assumption, but I'm pretty sure this Twilight Council is late, so it looks like a shaky variation of that build, assuming it is an Archon drop. Yep, it's an Archon drop. So ideally, the way that this build works, as the Ling does scout the Robo, is that by the time the War Prism gets across the map at around here, like 3/4 of the way through, then the Templar Archives finishes, and then it's lined up in such a way where you can warp in your Archons just as the Prism arrives. But it does look... actually, it might still be lined up as the Prism moves in. And yeah, it's late. Yeah, it is a little bit late here. As the Templar Archives is just now finishing. And now it's time for the Archons. He supply blocked. Oh, the brutal supply block for MaxPax will delay for a couple of seconds. Thankfully, not for too much longer. As he throws down extra pylons. And here we go. The Archons are on the way. Again, it's still a little bit delayed, but regardless, still heading out across the map. And we'll see what he can get done. Behind this, we go into Charge, into Immortal production, into Charge or Archon Immortal. That's typically the follow-up into Storm as well. Into a very heavy ground-based composition. And the goal for MaxPax is to catch Overlords, catch Queens, catch Drones, and keep Serral busy. Meanwhile, do you see what I see? I see Overlord speed. Pneumatized carapace. We're getting ready for a German taxi. Drop Lords are on the way. So Serral, he's aware of the build, he's aware of the opener. The downside of this build here from his opponents, of course, Nobling Stalkers. It's going to be Charge or Archon, and Immortal production is delayed. It's delayed in favor of all this tech, so there aren't going to be that many Immortals back at home. Serral, he smells weakness. He smells an opportunity. He's like, you know what, you shouldn't have that much at home to defend, and here comes Serral, he's going for the all-in. We said earlier in the series, or earlier this game even, how Serral, he was struggling against the late game of MaxPax, and we saw the last time they faced that Serral, he would often go for all-ins or often go for aggressive builds to try to slow MaxPax down and to poke holes in his defense early on before he can get to that kind of late game composition. We'll see if he can pull this off here and now. The army has arrived. There's one Immortal, soon to be two. Two Immortals for MaxPax. Serral, he attempts to dive. That is a lot of Archons. Roaches, they do trickle in. Nice force field. Yeah, very nice force field. Shield batteries are ready. Station trap as well. Serral, he's not gaining any ground. Not yet. Does commit, though. Does commit up into the natural. Going for the Immortal. Another nice force field. Slows down the push. Serral, he commits in. Stasis going up. Almost gets an Archon. Gets one. One Archon goes down. Nice control so far by MaxPax. He juggles well. Second robe is up and running. And Serral, he's running out of steam. So he's running out of steam. The juggling once again saves the Immortals, and Serral, he's running out of resources. He's running out of roaches, I should say. Takes down the Archon, though. And MaxPax, he defends. MaxPax, he's forcing this back. The Immortals, they're caught in the back line, though. They're not helping. Serral, he can still pull this off. Going for the Robo. One more volley, brings it down. MaxPax now just making one Immortal at a time. So once again going for the dive. Doesn't get the Archon. Hot pickup. Archon does eventually fall. And you can see here that how the soup does lie. Serral, he's up 50 supply, but he's having a hard time breaking MaxPax. But now MaxPax, he's out of Archons. He's out of Archons. A much more open location here at the third. Another Immortal has arrived. Yeah, now we're up to 4 Immortals. Ay, ay, ay. The Immortal count might just be too high at this point. Yeah, Serral, he cannot push in. Not against 5 Immortals. That's insane. And Serral, he's still all in, by the way. He's still not droning. He's still not droning, still not saturating. It's either he kills MaxPax or he dies trying. And he might just die trying. Oh, gets the sentry. Nice pickup. Takes down the sentry. Whilst they do connect. MaxPax getting choked up here. They're getting caught in the choke point. His army's zoned away. The third base is exposed. Nicely done. MaxPax caught out of position. Forced down to the low ground. He does keep up though. He does keep up. And the longer this goes on, the better it is for MaxPax. MaxPax, he has a better economy. He has a higher probe count. He has a more efficient army. Likewise, +2 is almost done for MaxPax. And this is looking bleak for Serral. It is looking bleak here. +2 seconds away. Serral trying to reinforce. Now, to be fair, Serral, he was also behind in game 1. True, he was also behind there, and he was able to bounce back. But it's hard. It's hard to believe here. It's hard having faith. MaxPax even feeling free enough to go for a massive Zealot counterattack. Shield battery goes down. Pylon as well. Depowers the gateways. MaxPax, he's supply blocked. Uh-oh. He is supply blocked. Zealots, they get spotted. Serral, he responds. Does spot the Zealots. Queens and Roaches amassing. He rotates over. Serral, he's maxed out. MaxPax is not out of the woods yet. Oh, the High Templar exposed. Survive. High Templar do survive. Whilst they graze the army. Once again, the Immortals, they can lock this down. As whilst they do delay the push, but the Immortals, they just have their way with that army. They force Serral back. Again, give MaxPax a handful of Immortals and a Prism. And mate, it doesn't matter. 200 supply Roaches, it means nothing. It means nothing, papi. Serral, he was at 200 supply, now knocked down to 168. Is knocked down. MaxPax is expanding. Serral, he cannot allow this. Does force a cancel, thankfully. As another base would be the nail in the coffin. Storm is done. Yo, we have Burrow. No Tunneling Claws. Burrow to heal up those roaches. Oh. Love to see it. Max is going for another run by, headed towards top right. Again, Serral has not made a drone in the past, what, 6 minutes? It's been a while. He has not been droning. And the base is exposed. Serral, he has some reinforcements. He has some lings. He has a handful of roaches. And now the Zealots, they reinforce the main army. A couple of drones do go down. A couple of probes as well. MaxPax, it might be worth just mining through these southern patches just to expand. But Serral, he's spreading creep, being as annoying as possible. He has creep at the entrance. He has creep here towards the top side as well. MaxPax going for a counterattack. Serral, I'm sure he noticed. Hope he did. Zealots, oh, they get across the map once again. The Biles! Oh my god, massive connections! Max actually takes the Biles to the face. Bazu connects. Prism is not here to juggle. The Prism is across the map instead, going for the drop, going for the warp in. Zealots have arrived. Prism taking a lot of damage. Roach is a counterattack in the mineral line. And there is no warp in. Yeah, no warp in. I should say a delayed warp in here from MaxPax. Cleans up all the roaches. MaxPax finally expands. And Serral still hasn't joined. He's still at 50 workers. Does keep up with the Zealots. Main army pushing in. Prism with the main army would be ideal. As MaxPax doesn't want to get surrounded. Does want to get caught out. Ooh, brutal storms though. Yeah, storms are brutal, and MaxPax, he now has an overwhelming army. And we mentioned this before. The longer this goes on, the better it is for MaxPax. As Serral, he's been trying to maintain this all in. Tunneling Claws is done. Gets across the map. Hits the fresh mining base. MaxPax, he has reinforcements. Storm going up as well. Immortals are getting caught on creep. Massive pickup. He gets one, he gets two. Two Immortals go down. Getting a third Immortal as well. Finally, Immortals are going down. We have a surround as well. MaxPax losing far too much here. Again, the Prism wasn't here to defend. The War Prism was not with the main army. That was a big loss for MaxPax. As MaxPax has been trying to harass. Oh. And so far he's been suffering because of it. So Serral still has a chance. He still has a chance. It's slim, but it's there. If he can catch out those Immortals for a second time. As Max actually so adamant about harassing here. I mean, it hasn't worked out yet, but maybe finally. So I'll say dip in. Serral defends. Serral gets supply blocked. Oh. 3 Overlords on the way. Zealots, they go for the expansion, and the hatchery goes down. Massive pickoff. At the same time, a Roach counterattack with their Zealots to defend as well. They do keep up. Prism. Coming back to the main army, potentially. Archon's getting caught. He loses one, loses two. MaxPax being forced back. The Biles. Oh my god, they take down so many observers. But GG gets caught. Serral, he runs out of steam. He runs out of army. He was all in the entire time. And the all-in fails. And MaxPax fights back. GG. Whew, GG, well played. A very impressive initial defense from MaxPax. I'm referring to the initial all-in. When MaxPax, he was caught with only one Immortal. He only had one Immortal initially. He had the second one on the way. And he was able to defend beautifully with some Warp Prism Micro, saving the Archons, warping in more Zealots, avoiding the Biles. Very, very nice defense there by MaxPax. And eventually, as the Immortal count got higher and higher, it became easier and easier to defend. There was some good moments for Serral where he was able to outposition MaxPax from time to time. Was able to outposition, but they were few and far between. As MaxPax, even though at times he was maybe caught out, he was able to respond, he was able to rotate, and make up for it with his control with his Warp Prism Micro. GG. GG, well played. With that, MaxPax does fly back, and now we have a back and forth series, and we're getting ready for Game 3. Game 3 is going to be on ley lines. Oh boy. Here we go. Meanwhile, it looks like our players are asking for a moment. Understandable. Our players are asking. I mean, it's been a long series. It's only been 2 games. Our players are asking for a moment here, so we're going to be going on a very short break as well, very short, and we'll be back in like a minute or so. One moment. I'm going to quickly refill my water as they're taking a break. 1 moment. Huh. And we are back. Welcome back, even welcome back. We are halfway through the series, and again, the show will go on. We are merely only in Game 3 of this best of 5, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Danish Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Skystorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Basilisk. It is Serral. Here we go. Whew. We have our openers, we have our setup. We're embracing our best of. Currently tied up 1-1, and now we're loading into ley lines. Ley lines is going to be, I would say, a larger map than El Dorado. True is a larger map than El Dorado at least. But one of the smaller maps in the map pool, aggression can be favored on this map as a result. It is not as clear-cut when it comes to trying to defend, trying to secure your bases. So we could see Serral being more aggressive again. As I mentioned previously, I do feel like MaxPax's strengths do lie in the late game. Even though he lost game 1 in the late game, MaxPax made mistakes. He did make mistakes in that game, which Serral did capitalize on. Serral, he was behind and he clawed his way back in. It was a crazy game 1, an impressive game 1 out of Serral to be able to come back from a very rough position. But Serral, even though he was able to pull that off, ideally he wants to avoid that. Ideally he does want to avoid that. So if he's able to get a lead early on, like the previous game, if he's able to smell weakness, he will commit into all-ins or into just aggressive styles. Didn't work out in game 2, but I mean, we can dust ourselves off. We can. I mean, there's a reason why Serral did go for that. You know, he's willing to try to end the game early if he sees a way to, if he sees an opportunity. Alas, due to MaxPax's impeccable control, I mean, again, like I was still very impressed by his defense at the naturals, or at the third base. Very impressed. And we'll see how our players do settle into Game 3. For now, it's going to be a gate expanded to Cyber Core, standard opener out of MaxPax. Stargate is on the way. Going to be that Stargate, most likely into Oracle. I mean, it's always viable here to open up Void Ray instead. Keep an eye on MaxPax as he is rallied across the map. He is rallied across. Serral pokes in. It does confirm the Stargate, and he confirms the first unit to the Oracle. So nice scout here by Serral. He pokes in, confirms, and gets the hell out. Behind this is going to be getting ready for his Oracle defense, getting his Queens ready. He can, of course, keep his Overlord spread. Doesn't have to pull them back due to a Void Ray. And it's going to be up to MaxPax here to find a way in, to find some damage. See if he can. See someone asking in the chat, is it really a best of 5? Yes, it is a best of 5. Grand Finals pilot. It is a little bit confusing. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all for being a little bit confused. But this tournament's Grand Finals is a part of the name. It's the LiuLi Cup 2024 Grand Finals. Like, that's indicative of it being like the end of year event, right? Like the end of 2024 event for LiuLi Cup. This is not the finals, but we are here in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs. And this is day 2. we're still in the upper bracket semifinals. For some context, we're in the upper bracket semifinals, and the winner of this series faces off against the winner of Hero and Clem. So there's Serral versus MaxPax and Hero versus Clem. The winners of both these series face off against each other. That's going to be tomorrow. It's today is day 2, and it's a 5-day event. So 5 days of LiuLi Cup. We are merely only in day 2. Only day 2. I get exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back yourselves. We can catch up on that bracket afterwards. Oh, as York will take a lot of hits, takes a lot of damage, and barely does escape. Whew, barely gets away. Behind this, we have that follow-up. It is going to be what's it? Sorry, I was otherwise trying to answer questions in the chat, but it was a Robo once again into a Temple Archives. It looks like the same build. It is going to be an Archon drop. When I say that the same build, this is the same build that we saw in El Dorado. It's going to be Warp Prism. By the time the Prism gets across the map, it is going to be Temple Archives into Archons into Archon drop Harass. So the same build 2 games in a row. If you recall, when Serral saw this, it did trigger an all-in out of Serral. This time it should not. I mean, we have plus on melee. Plus on melee is for Ling Hydra. There is a Roach Warren for safety roaches. Oracles have arrived. Sorry, Archons have arrived, what I meant to say. And Max actually rotates over towards that drop. Let's double Archon into the main. Adepse shading towards the natural. And drones are going to be going down. Nasty goes here from MaxPax. He gets 1, he gets 2, he gets 3. Can he get 4? Barely not. 3 drones go down. Archons into the main, catching a queen. Good pickups. Does catch a queen. Prism comes in. No, a little bit too late. 1 Archon goes down. Big loss here from MaxPax. That should not have happened. 1 Archon overextends. The Prism was a little bit too far back. And with that, Serral, he's defending well. May have lost a couple of workers, but killing an Archon makes it worth it. So better defense here for Serral. Behind this, do you see what I see? That's Overlord speed. Are we going for the same response? I'm getting deja vu. Serral, he's droning up to 3-base saturation, 67 workers. That is just over 3-base saturation, and yep, we're going for an all-in. It's going to be another German taxi. Roaches, Lings, the Queens are moving out, Drop Lords are on the way, Overlord speed is almost done, and he commits. We're going for the all-in. MaxPax back home, he realizes what's going on, he's setting up. I mean, he sees everything with the Observer. This Observer tells him everything he needs to know. He's getting ready. Cannon, Shield Battery, Storm is on the way. Second Robo for double immortal production. MaxPax does need more time. And can he hold? Throwing down stasis traps as best he can. Serral, he is committing. The Warp Prism is back at home. Zeldaron back here towards the expansion. Serral moving forward. Does move forward, slowly laying siege. Queens are spreading creep. And again, this area is much more wide open. This time there is no ramp coming into the natural. Yeah, less defendable compared to El Dorado. The production is exposed. Cybercore goes down. Massive pickup. And MaxPax, he's waiting for Storm. Storm is almost done. Force the Morphin Archon. Does he have a High Templar? Oh. 0 High Templar. 0 High Templar because of that Archon. High Templar now morphing in. He does have the NG overcharge. Storm is now ready. But he has no Storm. He has no NG. He has no NG. Not yet. Roaches are coming from the flank. Storm goes off on the Ravagers. Just the 1 Storm. Herbs are going down. Again, just a really awkward engage here from MaxPax. He's about to get surrounded. Roaches are coming in from both angles. Likewise, so is MaxPax. Trying to push forward, collapsing on the Ravagers. Ravagers going down. Roaches are coming from behind. Catching at the Immortal. I'll pick up. The Archon goes down. Archon does fall. The army is trapped. The space, it's gonna fall. Serral, he's done it. He breaks the third. Third base has been broken. We have a lot of Immortals, but again, they were just stuck on the other base. They were stuck at the natural. Now trying to engage. And MaxPax is just getting picked apart this time. Again, a much more exposed setup here compared to El Dorado. It's more wide open, more spread out. And Serral, he overwhelms. Yeah, this time he will overwhelm. As he takes out 38 probes. The Immortals are trading well for themselves, but what about the economy? What about the economy? What about the third base? As MaxPax he's getting knocked down to 2. He's getting knocked down. The expansion falls. And from here, if Serral wanted to, Brutal Storm. But if Serral wanted to, he could just drone. He could just drone from here if he really wanted to. Oof, thank God. Files they connect. And he's still just overwhelming regardless. Takes out Immortal after Immortal. Will commit in. GG gets called, and Serral, he does take a lead in the series at 2-1. Whew, GG. GG, well played. This time, I mean, again, almost deja vu. It was the same build out of MaxPax and the same, or a similar response out of Serral. I say similar. If you recall, Serral in game, on El Dorado, I believe he cut workers at 55. I believe it was just under 3 base saturation. This time, it was a later push. It was a later counterattack. Serral did drone a little bit harder, of course, up to 67 this time instead. So he had a greater economy. Of course, that led into a larger push, a larger army as well. And MaxPax, he was caught off guard. Again, one of the big defensive features that did help MaxPax on El Dorado is the ramp. There's a ramp coming into the natural, so there's a point of elevation. Likewise, because of the base layout, if you remember, because of how close the third base is to the natural, you could actually help defend the third base from the natural ramp, where MaxPax, he was able to keep his immortals on the high ground and actually lay siege and shoot down to the low ground from that position. Here, it's not possible. Here, the bases are more spread out, the bases are more exposed. On ley lines, Serral was more successful. Breakthrough. Again, the map itself was kind of working against MaxPax there, more so than El Dorado, of course. And GG. Whew, GG, well played. Serral takes the lead, and now we're getting into game number 4. We'll see if MaxPax goes for a different opener this time. Has had mixed success by going into the Archon drop, as he has done so 2 games in a row. But what I will say, this is going to be a very different map. We're loading into Ultra Love for game 4. Let's go. Here we go. I was gonna say I've been practicing this build, and it's been the one mod I used to take a map off of Serral. Yes, that is true. That is true. Mana did, he has been very fond of the Archon drop. He's been very fond of the Archon drop opener. It's true. We've been casting it many a time. I mean, I say Mana's been quite, it's all that Mana does. It's like it's all he does in PvZ. But here we go. We're settling in and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ultra Love. We have the Danish Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Psystorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. As he is down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player, the red Zerg from land of Finland, representing Basilisk, 1 game away from advancing on into the next round. It is Serral. Here we go. And again, it's been a very intense series so far. And welcome one and all to Ultra Love. And I feel like El Dorado, Game 2 and Game 3 really does show how maps can impact a defense and impact an attack as well. Like, maps, they're so impactful when it comes to the strengths and weaknesses of some of these builds, of some of these setups as well. When it comes to Ultra Love, the Rush Distance Spy Ground is similar to that of Ley Lines. Ley Lines is the map that we just spawned into previously. What's important, though, is that here there are ramps. There are points of elevation. There's a ramp coming into natural. The natural is more defendable. Likewise, the third base is also more defendable than on ley lines. As we were pointing out on ley lines, you could actually pin yourself in between the natural and the third base and push from either direction. Likewise, the third, there was a very wide open area to push into it. I'm referring to the previous map. Here on Ultra Love, 2 ramps, 2 points of elevation here. So being in this low ground setup is actually more difficult to rotate and actually push up into these bases, so it is more difficult to be the aggressor. Likewise, you can knock down this tower, you can fully wall this area off. It's already a natural choke point to begin with as well. On Ultra Love, your 3 base setup is much more defendable than on ley lines. So the rush distance is similar, but more defendable. Because of that, if MaxPax did want to go for that build again, it's a little bit more safer to do so. Likewise, because of that, if Serral, I doubt he's going to respond with an all-in. Not on Ultra Love. It's still possible, but I don't know if he would risk it. We'll see. I'm getting ahead of myself. We have yet to determine the opener. So far, Stargate here at a MaxPax. We'll see if he goes for a third base into another Robo. If we see the Robo, then that is a tell that it's going to be the Archon drop once again. As Serral does go for the triangular third. MaxPax is selling in back at home, opening up Stargate. Here we go. Here we go. I see someone saying that that MaxPax should have maybe tapped out earlier. No, shut, mate. You got to play it out, mate. This is what, especially MaxPax. This is what MaxPax lives for. Bearing in mind, for some greater context for this tournament, a lot of people like, oh, MaxPax, he doesn't play in offline events. What does he play in? Major online events. This is it. Events like Masters Coliseum, which, by the way, MaxPax, he came third in. He had a very good performance at Masters Coliseum, and events like this, LiuLi Cup. You know, when we have other players like Clem and Serral and Maru and Hero playing for big tournaments like EWC, MaxPax, where he is supposed to shine and thrive and where he plays his best and plays his heart out, is these online events. Because where else are you going to see him? Events like Masters Coliseum and events like LiuLi Cup as well. So, no. You play it out, Pappy. Put it all on the line. This is MaxPax's EWC. As MaxPax still spoke in. Looking to catch out a queen. Oh. And he will. One queen goes down in between the bases. Not bad. And behind this standard opener, as I was getting ahead of myself, I was getting a little bit distracted. This time, no robo. It's going to be a Twilight Council into Forge. This time, a standard setup into +1 and Blink. This time, there is no Archon drop. This time, there is no early robo. Despite that, Lings, they do counterattack. They do catch the Adept. They catch a Pylon. Not bad. Nice pickoffs. This does make up for the Queen going down, at least somewhat, from the side of Serral. So Serral loses the Queen, but he kills an Adept, a Pylon, and does come back in. Yeah, probes are going down. Brutal losses. Getting up to 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my god. 5 probes go down. MaxPax cutting corners, did not reinforce with extra Adepts, as now they're warping in. Stalker even. And MaxPax, he's punished. And again, with that, Serral, he reciprocates for losing that Queen. And I would say he's in a better position. Lings, they come back in, and this time the Oracles are ready. This time the Lings are deflected. So MaxPax does hold. Behind this, as we mentioned, again, +1 and Blink into a 3-base setup. I would imagine working towards a 4th base, extra gases, into Storm, into a later game state. Again, MaxPax playing standard this time. Likewise, Serral, he techs, he drones, he throws down gases, Hydra Den's on the way. Serral is not going for an all-in, which is what we expected as well. Like we mentioned it, like, again, Ultra Love as a map is more defendable, it's easier to defend, it is easier to fortify. So Serral is playing out a longer game state. So we can sink our teeth into Game 4. Sink our teeth into it. Overseer scout into the main. Overseer does scout the Temple Archives. This tells Serral that MaxPax is teching. This means that he knows there's not going to be 3-base all-in, and he knows he's safe to drone. He's safe to drone up, safe to take his 4th base. I say that Serral, he is massing up some Roach Hydra. I mean, of course, respecting these Stalkers. Does want to get caught off guard. Upgrades are finishing up for Serral. And he will soon be able to break out. Serral cutting workers at 3-base saturation. Bear that in mind. They're going for a counterattack. He peels up a couple of units. MaxPax moving in. Picking up. Oh, almost a Queen. Almost. As do we have a defensive warp in? Not quite. Yeah, Serral, he breaks through. He breaks through the front door. Lings, they flood into the middle line. MaxPax still maintaining his position. Trading with the Roaches. Catching out some of the Queens. Very nice pickup. There's a transfuse. And back at home, 8 probes going to be going down. Nice counterattack here from Serral. Well, stage traps, they get baited out. And MaxPax is in trouble. He has to fall back. And again, Serral, he's not droning. He's not droning his 4th base. He's going for a very committed counterattack. This time with Ling, Roach Hydra. We mentioned at the start of the series how Serral, if he can end the game early against MaxPax, he will. He does not want to get locked into late game. Not with MaxPax. He's going for it. He's sending it. See MaxPax getting ready. So he rotates, he responds. In between the bases. Oh! Stasis goes up. Hydra starts stepping forward. Shield Riders are not ready. Yeah, Shield Riders are just not ready in time. Stalker's being forced back. There's one more stasis. Doesn't quite connect. And it looks like Serral, he has done it. He's broken past the ramp, or past the choke point. Was able to bypass it entirely. And MaxPax, he was caught off guard. He was not ready. 1 shield battery ready. No cannons, no additional shield batteries. MaxPax, he was getting ready for a longer game state. And Serral, he ends the game here and now, as he will overwhelm. And these are just expensive losses for MaxPax, losing Stalker after Stalker. Oh, as MaxPax is trying to hold on, trying to force us back, bleeding out 10 probes. Goes for the Nexus. Nexus goes down as well. Points are being pulled. And Serral's done it. So he's broken the back of MaxPax. GG gets called, and Serral, he will take the series 3-1, advancing on to the upper bracket finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. A very aggressive style here out of Serral. We did have an insane game 1, a very intense late game in game 1 on Amygdala. But after that, purely all-ins. All-in in game 2, game 3, game 4 from Serral. What I should emphasize, different kinds of all-ins, different forms of aggression out of Serral, but aggression nonetheless. And again, as you mentioned, MaxPax, he did fumble the ball in game 1 when it came to his lead in the late game. After that, Serral, he was like, never again. Just never late game again. We end the game early, or not at all. GG. GG, well played, Serral. He will claim the series. He will advance on into next round, and we have one best of 5 remaining here in tonight's broadcast. We're hopping over to the Americas server. Why exactly? Well, we have some European on Korean action. Up next is going to be a TVP between Clem and Hero. Let's go. Let us go.